round of Spectacular Mystery Spectrum unboxing. I am going to start things off here with R and S. Just a second. Okay, so these of course come from Roushi, our buddy in Germany. And starting things off, we've got Swevo's World. This is a Rebound software production. This looks a little bit like Head Over Heels. This is a dual format cassette with Amstrad and Spectrum. Up next, this is Super Stuntman, a Codemasters game. I think I'm closing in on a lot of these Codemasters releases that have this same sort of cassette design. This has amazing playability, a brilliant stuntman simulation. So even though this does not have simulator on the actual text of the title, they still bill it as one. Music by David Whitaker. So I'm guessing that that was the AY music on the 128K version of that. I feel like my mic is a little bit not picking up as well as it should. Anyway, Super Stuntman, pretty cool. Okay, moving right on down, we've got Super Stock Car. A lot of supers in the letter S, of course. A Mastertronic Plus release. Pick a power car and race around 6 scintillating tracks on your quest to become the meanest, hardest, fastest driver in the world. It says it's a stock car simulator. I guarantee that none of the cars featured on this are stock cars. This is like, there's a Lamborghini, looks like a Lotus. I don't know, maybe stock car racing means something different in Europe, but in America, those are not popular stock car brands. Hey, Edvin. Hey, Duncan. Oh yeah, this is the same parcel. I just ran out of time last time, and this is just more stuff from that same huge 3 or 4 boxes I got from Roushi. So yeah. Hey, Barkbit, how's it going, man? Okay, up next, this is Storm. Okay, this looks very much similar to Barbarian on the front, as you can see there. Comes in an attractive yellow case, and this is a Mastertronic. I really like these with the grid. I'm organizing all my Spectrum games on the shelf by sort of the line that they were in this Mastertronic line. I've got quite a few of these too, so that's good. This next one is Starquake by Ricochet Software. This appears to be a side-scrolling shooter, maybe. The screenshots are like, look at this. Look how big the Ricochet gun and logo is, and look how small the screenshots are. So it's almost like they don't want you to look at the screenshots too hard there. So I'm gonna turn up my level here. I know I'm pretty low. There we go. All right. I think maybe it's because I have the main mix turned down. Sorry, let me just spin some things around here. I'm gonna have to redo the levels once Aaron gets in town, but I think that's much better. Okay, can you hear me a little bit louder now without having to crank your speakers to the moon? This is another copy of Star Farce. This is a top-down shooter that I remember playing from one of the original sets of games that I got from, maybe it was Pixels at Dawn. So another copy of Star Farce. You can never have too many. Now this is Jonah Barrington's Squash. Let's all take a look at Jonah Barrington. What a cool looking dude. Kind of looks, He's got a Freddie Mercury mustache and some tiny white shorts and a very small racket. I guess I don't know enough about squash to know what a squash racket looks like, but I thought that a squash racket this looks like a badminton racket. I don't know. Maybe I thought a squash racket was more of a oval shaped. Well, I guess this is an oval shaped thing. I thought it looked different. I don't know. All right. Coming up next, this is Spore. Not the Will Wright Spore, of course. This Spore appears to be a very red and blue puzzle game. It does have a fold-out inlay, but no additional graphics. Again, I know you can't see that very well, but it's very hard to tell, and there's no text other than some flavor text that just says, "Warning, biohazard. The experiment is a failure. The base has been overrun by genetically altered spores." So, Mastertronic, the best of British Bulldog software. All right. Now this is interesting. This is Split Personalities. And I believe, what was the name of the British show that had all the puppets? This is not that. This is something totally different. But that's what this made me think of, because there's like all your 80s superstars, Thatcher and Reagan and things. But this is create a split picture of famous faces such as Maggie Thatcher, Charles and Di, Ronald Reagan, and Marilyn Monroe by using your skill to work out the twists, turns, and pitfalls that accompany each level. So it's like a puzzle game where you're making faces. Spitting image. So yeah, I knew it was something similar to that. So that might be fun to check out. Bug Bite software. This is Spellbound. It's kind of interesting. On the cover, there is a knight, a Thor type superhero, and what looks like death on the cover. Oh, I think that it says this: you are a magic knight and the first of a new generation of arcade adventure style games using a unique window system. So this is maybe like a RPG light, something like that. Is Spitting Image coming back soon? What time like the present for Spitting Image? I'm sure it'll do quite well. Here is Sorcery for the Specky. A 15-screen arcade adventure requiring nimble fingers and a quick mind. That's all you get. You don't get any box art. You get nothing. The tape is even. I guess it's got a label on the front. Ooh, now this is interesting. What do we have here? A little receipt action. Let's see where this came from. This came from the Bucon Limited Micro Store, incorporating Merlin computer products. This is a receipt dated the 12th of January 1984. Sorcery was purchased for £3.95. And this was located at 3536 Singleton Street, Swansea. I love stuff like this. I love it. It's probably the first time this thing has been unfolded in many a year. Okay. That's right, Barkbit. Yeah, I think that we're going to be sticking with Twitch for our live streams. There's a lot of advantages to Twitch, and so we've got 90 days to. But I mean, I've been very impressed so far in terms of what people have said about the quality of the video on the Twitch stream. This is Skate Crazy by Kicks Software. This is taking advantage of the roller skating craze that hit England in the 80s, I guess. Freddy's the name and skating's the game. And as every streetwise kid knows, the only way to succeed is to gain street cred, end quotes, from your friends and onlookers. You've got the car park challenge and the championship course. You'd be skate crazy to miss it. This looks pretty cool. This looks pretty cool. It looks like a 720. Well, some of it looks like it's overhead and some of it looks like it's side-scrolling. So maybe it's a multi-event game. I will definitely be checking this out. This is a Kicks label, but it's not the red and the blue like we saw before. This is a more pastel colored. All right, up next, this is Shard of Innovar. Another game featuring a muscular young man and a scantily clad young lady. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Duncan. I enjoy going through. And this is another Mastertronic The Best of British game. As the storm clouds gather and rain begins to fall, the time has come for you, Varwield, to attempt the ritual of decaying. This looks like one of those graphical text adventures. It's got a pretty unique menu system. I will definitely be checking that out. The Shard of Innovar. This is a Commodore tape, by the way. This is not a Spectrum tape. I think that was the first one that I think I've seen in here, so it was probably put in here by mistake. Although I did receive quite a few Commodore 64 tapes from Roushi in his last shipment. This one is called Saracen, or Saracen, and it's licensed to thrill from Americana Software. Look at this jovial old man on the front there. Based on, this is during the Holy Crusades, the brave and adventurous young soldiers of the Christian world traveled to the Holy Land. And Holy Land, I believe, is in quotes there, to fight the infidel Saracens. A fast action and strategy designed to keep you riveted to your computer for hours on end. Mastertronics was like the king of distributors of Spectrum games. They did it all. Okay, now I will definitely be playing this because this is one of my many hobbies. This is sailing. Sailing! Look at that. This looks pretty cool on the back. You design your own yacht, brave the elements, and beat your opponents in the most accurate ocean-going simulation yet. That does look like a pretty accurate simulation of sailing on the ZX Spectrum. I cannot wait to check this out. Okay. Coming up next, this is SOS by Mastertronic. This is a isometric game in the head over heels style, featuring yet another droid dude and a yellow cassette. Another Mastertronic. Okay, this is Rugby Manager. Look at these two guys. I don't know if they hate each other or one is comforting the other. It's hard to tell. But this is one of those games where you don't actually play. You just sit at your desk and make decisions and see how the game plays out. And this is on the £2.99 budget label, Mastertronic Plus. Hey, Paul. More games indeed. More games indeed. Up next, this is Roll Around. Again by Mastertronic, and this appears to be kind of like a Marble Madness type game. The screenshots are from the C64 version, so may or may not be indicative of the Speccy version. But yeah, like a Marble Madness type game, Roll Around. And this is Rogue. Look who we've got. Muscular man, barely clothed lady on the front. They knew what sold back then. You are the rogue. Your mission is to search the dungeons of doom for the amulet of Yendor. Oh, so this is rogue, like actual rogue, like the rogue that roguelike comes from. I can tell you that this, whoever bought this based on the cover alone would be sorely disappointed. I don't know if there are no actual screenshots of the game anywhere to be found, but Rogue is like an ASCII tile-based. Oh yeah, here they are on the back. They're just very, very hard to see. This actually looks, you know, this is one of those games that would translate incredibly well to the Specky because of the palette. Those bright colors to light up the walls and the monsters and things, and so pretty cool. And this, it says it's flippy down there in the corner. I don't know what that means, but that's right, Pixels. More games, better games. That last part might not be true. This is Rockford, the arcade game. Now, this is the only true arcade version of the classic game Boulder Dash. Developed using all the 16-bit power of the Amiga for Arcadia Systems arcade cabinets. So, just to make sure I've got this right, there was an arcade version of the game Boulder Dash, because remember, Boulder Dash was a computer exclusive. I believe Apple II was the first people to get Boulder Dash. Then they used the Amiga to develop an arcade game version, and this is the ZX Spectrum port of that arcade version. Look at this. Look at this guy. He's holding up a beam while he's playing the game. It's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. Okay, this is Rygels Revenge, and it is a computer and video games hit. And the quote from the box says, "If they continue to release adventures of this quality at this price, they could well revolutionize the cassette-based adventure market." And what a market it was, the cassette-based adventure market. You're right, Pixels. Everything stems from that man holding up the bean. You got it. He could be our new mascot. This looks very bizarre. I can't even tell from the graphics on the back what kind of a game this is. So we'll just have to play it to find out. Rygels Revenge. You missed it, Pix. Well, you can always go back and see it. But in one of these games, there was an original receipt, handwritten receipt from 1984. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Up next, Mastertronic presents Rifle Range. This might have been sold in a big box because there's no instructions or anything on the back. But it looks like it says any Spectrum, so I guess you don't need to have the gun to play it. But pretty cool. Pretty cool. I like shooting gallery games. So. Okay, this is Red Scorpion. Oh, okay, so this is a wireframe flying game. I think it's a flying game. The battle for Bombix Moons is about to start. The Teran Confederation's job is to liberate the Bombix people and stop the evil Necrons from mining the valuable mineral called Talonite. I wonder if there was just a guy and his job was just to make up nonsense. That sounds like my job. This thing was not played very often, I can tell you that, because these little guys, like the little hole punchies from there, are still in there. So, I don't know what that says. It's another Bug Bite software release. 1988. Oh, only 10. That makes sense, since they were limited to the 128K. Here's Raw Recruit. This looks like Combat School. In fact, I believe it is Combat School, a multi-stage games game. So, I always like those. Although I believe that there is Combat School also for the Spectrum. Raster Scan by Mastertronic. What do you do when all is... Hold on. What do you do when all is you? Does it make any sense? Let me try again. What do you do when all is you and the heat has left? With memory not uncorrupt and it heading for heat source conjunction and termination, you take MSB and repair and align until the scan returns and Starship Raster Scan survives. An animated challenge in real time with the weirdest atmosphere ever. This is the weirdest text I've ever read on the back of the game. Lunatic health warning. This game may affect your concept of reality. Well then. Yeah, I'm looking at the screenshots here and it's already warping my concept of reality. So, okay. What do you do when all is you and the heat is left? It's like some sort of bizarre free verse. Okay, and that's it for this package, except for the race. This has got a picture of a Lamborghini racing a Volkswagen Beetle in the desert, as they do. Climb into the driving seat of a gleaming performance sports car and get ready for this, the ride of your life. This looks like a top-down racing game. It's got a thumping Sonic Graffiti soundtrack. I don't know if that means anything to you. It does have dual player mode with 2 totally independent scrolling displays. Independent. How do you spell that in England? Because they're not spelling it like I spell it. Brilliant gameplay, addictive to the max. The race. Yeah, that's right. It's misspelled on the back of the cassette. All right. So we finished the R's and S's. Why not T through Z? T through Z. You know what? Before we do that, I don't want to leave out our boys H and I. Okay, not too many H and I. Yeah, probably a good idea, Pixels. Now this looks interesting. Okay, so this is a C64 game. This is called Hacker. You found your way in, but is there a way out? Pit your wits against the designer of the host computer system. He looks like every 80s hacker. Just kind of looking in perplexion, sitting in front of a Commodore 64. And with a map of the world behind him. This is Jack and Wide. No, I'm sorry. Jackal and Wide. So it's a side-scrolling game where you play as Dr. Jackal, who turns into a werewolf and has to find the antidote. Jackal and Wide. Jackal and Wide. Yeah. They make a big deal of this. Recorded on BASF tape. I guess that was the best tape you could get back in the day. The old BASF. I remember BASF doing a lot of videotape. We had a lot of BASF videotapes back then. This is Hacker 2, the Doomsday Papers. This time he's typing on what appears to be an IBM keyboard instead of a C64. But apart from that, it all looks the same. This is a Spectrum 48, 128, and +2 tape. Hacker 2. Anybody ever play any of the Hacker games? And this is Invasion. Man, Bulldog Software. Bulldog and they publish it. Well, I don't even know what Bulldog Software. They're some sort of subsidiary of Mastertronic. Sometime on our Sinclair, we'll have to delve into exactly what all that stuff, how that shakes out. This is your typical, looks like a side-scrolling shooter. Invasion with a pretty cool cover with the London skyline there. Yeah, well, Paul, I'll probably be right there with you. This is International Rugby Simulator, another rugby game. Although I believe that you are actually playing this time. It's not a manager deal. The first real simulation of the world famous game. So this is another famous Codemasters release of their simulator series. Yeah, there's just a million. I mean, are there any rough estimates of how many commercially released Spectrum games there were? I'd like to know that. Now, this is a game that I know I will enjoy because number one, it's got the words micro value written in incredibly large type, which leads you to believe that this was perhaps produced on the cheap, or maybe this is a re-release. But the name of the game is International Ninja Rabbits. Okay, and just in case you didn't catch the ninja on the top, they put Ninja Combat right there underneath it. So you know what you're in for. Here's what you're in for. International Ninja Rabbit is the sequel to the award-winning and chart-topping Ninja Rabbits game. In the continuing quest to rid the world of deadly nerve gas, the Ninja Rabbit encounters new and even more aggressive animals and people than before. Guardian angels, Chinese dragons, demented pandas, and fighting football players. It's got ninja combat and mystery bonuses. That's great. Above and below ground action. Okay. Hyperbole. Every screenshot in this game looks different. On the front, it looks like a fighting car, like it might be a weird futuristic Mad Max type thing. Then on the back, you've got a big screenshot that says line goal. And then maybe this is some sort of a sports title. I don't know. Because it says, in 3600, even ice hockey has gone high tech. It's played with linear motor ships. Okay, futuristic ice hockey game. Got it. Hyperbole. And finally, Hunchback 2 Quasimodo's Revenge. So this is the second, and the Hunchback games are really fun. I can't wait to check that out. Now we move on to the last package, the inevitable T through Z. Okay. Coming up first, we're going the wrong way. We don't want to start with the Z's. Start with the T's. Coming up first, TBird. I had a buddy in high school. His nickname was TBird. His real name was Travis. TBird is a side-scrolling shooter. Yep. It's got a new and revolutionary ABS, and it stands for what ABS stands for in real life, automatic braking system. It's just bizarre words on the back. I guess they're writing it like it is a car ad. So, yeah, I'll regale you with that when we play this on a stream later on. Yeah, I feel like that number is probably high, and it probably includes like a lot of like whatever PD equivalents are, or you know, what kind of like homebrew type stuff. But I wouldn't be surprised if there were half that many, you know, 5,000 commercially released Spectrum titles. I'd like to know how many, maybe you could you check and see how many Mastertronic published? Because literally, it's like every single one of these games almost is a Mastertronic game. This is Tempest for the ZX Spectrum, another game which should do really well on the Specky because it's all wireframe and colorful and things, as long as the speed is okay. So I'll definitely be checking this out. Tempest for the ZX Spectrum. Terminus. This one is, it's got a really awesome kind of futuristic sci-fi art on the front. And man, this cannot be, is this just a one? No. Boy, these graphics look super colorful. This can't be the Spectrum graphics. Only a teenage gang called the Wranglers can stand against the system. 512 screens of mind-blowing graphics. Yeah, I cannot believe that maybe it's like a 128K, but that's so colorful for the 48K. And here is ParaMax. This is a Bug Bite Premiere release. Experience the dangers of a hazardous journey to find Professor Eye Strain and deflect the meteor to which only he has the solution. Addictive, compelling, brilliant graphics, and hours of zany humor. This looks fun. ParaMax. Boy, if there's only 74, I've got them all. Because like I've got a ton of Mastertronic games. This is Tyrannog. Fight against creatures already dead as you battle your way across the land of Tyrannog. This reminds me, there was a game with a standing stone on it it had a sort of a Welsh, Celtic something sounding name. And maybe this is similar. This is a 128K only release. Tyrannog. And here's Trailblazer. Trailblazer is exactly like the roly game that we played on the Amiga last time. That monkey ball-esque, or not really monkey ball, but endless runner with the jump and roll. That's what it's called. This is jump and roll for the ZX Spectrum, Trailblazer. I believe this has also got released on the Atari 8-bits. Up next, this is Vector Ball. And this is multi-release, Amstrad, Schneider, and Spectrum. This is a racing game, I believe. 5 different pitch types. Use all your skill to guide your droid around the pitch and attempt to score more goals than your opponent. Oh, okay. This looks kind of neat. It's a black and white game. I'll definitely check that out. Okay, cool, Duncan. This is a MAD game, Mastertronic Added Dimension. Ultimate Combat, UCM, $2.99 at Boots. And it's a top-down ordeal. Yeah, UCM. This is Jeff Minter's Void Runner, of course with llamas on the cover. The final conflict of the droid wars. This simulation gives you the chance to A. Shoot more aliens faster than you ever did before. B. Experience 1,000 different violent demises. C. Wonder just why that red ship there is going down when you distinctly told it to go up. D. Be a smartass when you finally learn to handle 30 different types of ship formation. E. Bust your joystick in the white heat and fury of your blasting. So Jeff Minter, you knew it would be wacky. Void Runner. And this is Xeno. This is a... man, just looking at those screenshots make my head hurt. It's a very odd perspective. This is some kind of a sports game. The screenshots are taken from an Amstrad, so we can't go off those. But this one I'm interested about. Xeno. See, looks like that. But it's not a racing game. It's some sort of maybe futuristic curling simulator. Okay, and this is Zenon. Zenon being the classic shooter, kind of like Xevious. Yeah, not much to say about old Zenon. Okay, here is The Way of the Tiger. This is a side-scrolling ninja combat game, published by Night Books. When I guess when book publishers were getting into the act. This is Wild Water, looks like a side-scrolling, like a whitewater kayaking simulator. Kind of neat. Bug Bite. Winter Games, of course. Now, it's interesting. So there were two different games. As I was categorizing, or I was updating my list of Specky titles, I noticed that I had a game called The Games, TM, and then underneath it said Winter Edition. And I was like, well, maybe that is what they called the game series on the Spectrum for some reason. But no, because this is the Winter Games logo, like the classic Epics Winter Games published by Kix. So I guess these are two totally separate games. So yeah. And this is Yabba Dabba Doo, the Flintstones game for the ZX Spectrum. This has got, I can almost guarantee you these are not the, wait a minute, okay, it is Spectrum. These are not screenshots from the Spectrum game because the Spectrum cannot make these colors. I will be interested to see what the Flintstones game for the Spectrum looks like. I am a sucker for a good Flintstones game. You might recall several years ago I did a complete playthrough of the Flintstones, The Rescue of Dino and Hoppy on the NES. Well, that's cool, Pixels. I can't wait to play it. I've got the, let me just pull it out right here. I've got the Specky with the DivMMC feature all ready to go. Unfortunately, I've run into some trouble installing the DOS that this thing needs to work off of. But Sanxion, I'm hoping, will come to the rescue and show me what I'm doing wrong. Because I can't wait to tear into this thing. That sounds amazing, Pixels. Okay, and now we have Xin Jie. I think it's very difficult to read font. This is a $1.99 special. And man, just the cover design is awful because it's got a bunch of white lightning on the back and a bunch of white text. And it's also not in English. So that's, oh yeah, it is. There's one sentence in English. Help Xin Jie to stabilize the power station before he melts down. That's all you needed. When it was only £1.99, all you needed was a good piece of cover art. And finally, the last game for today, we have ZipZap. The name of the game, Imagine Entertainment. ZipZap. Hard to know what ZipZap is, but it's here, and I've got it. So, as we make our stacks here, I'd just like to thank Roushi one more time for all of the goodness he has brought. I'm still floored the fact that we have guaranteed the only Amstrad CPC 464 in West Virginia, plus the PAL C64, plus the Specky 128K plus 2, plus all of these games. It's incredible, and so thank you once again, Roushi. I'm in the process of creating a new Spectrum shelf designed to hold all these tapes, and have the complete collection cataloged. So be on the lookout on Discord for that, and be on the lookout Friday when we are back and better than ever for Amigos. This week we're doing Batman the movie, and what's the Spectrum game we're playing? It's the last one in this season. You know, it's the last one on the the Clive's Club thing. Pixels, do you remember? And then this is the last week for a while when we will not have a Coco show. The Coco show is coming back, and we'll have 3 weeks in a row of Coco show. So you'll have that to look forward to. That's what's coming up on the channel. So anyway, Trapdoor, thank you. I kept thinking Popeye because it was by the same guy, and I knew it wasn't Popeye, although the game looks, I mean, it looks very similar to Popeye. I guess Popeye looks similar to Trapdoor rather. But yeah, and I need to start watching some episodes of Trapdoor to fully get myself ready for that. So thank you, Paul, for being here. Dunk, Pix, Barkbit, Edvin, anybody that's hanging out silently in the chat, thanks for joining me. And we'll see you on Friday. Adios.